Hey everybody, what's up? 8 o'clock Eastern. Good to see you. It's your friend James Shaw. Thank you for choosing to be here this morning on this Thursday morning. We are back and better than ever, and I'm back home. Oh my gosh, the last couple of days were great. I got to do Tuesday in Wilmington, North Carolina. We did a brand new course never done before called the 3L Intensive. The 3Ls, right? Leads, listings, and leverage. But we went deep on them for today's market. I did some opening and closing sessions. We did some workshopping. We had three different panels of agents that are succeeding in those areas. Interviewed 14 people. I thought it was really good, and I appreciate everybody who was there. We do a lot of work on it. My team spends a lot of time on it, so we might do. We're working on maybe two more this year, and then maybe if your region or market center group is interested in something like this, reach out to me, and we might be able to do it in 2026. Um, it'd be fun. It's a good event. So we did that on Tuesday. Then I went to Manchester, New Hampshire, that does have the best chicken fingers on the planet, and they got me some of them. They were doing an annual event that the Metro Market Center in Manchester does with all their top people, and I got to do an opening piece for that. Ton of fun. What a great group. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good couple of days. Now we're back home and better than ever. But if you want to see what happens on the road, like if you're just genuinely curious about what life is like when we're out and about, Julia Saad, who helps me with all of my socials, put together the the best reel. I do want to just make sure you understand that she's manipulated my comments and placed them out of context, but it's really good. So James D. Shaw on Instagram if you want to see that. All right, let's get after it this morning. We are doing listing month. It's market and manage, and today, guess what we're talking about? Because we have never talked about this before. Price reductions, price reduction strategy as you have a listing on the market that is sitting. But before we do that, something good. Jenny, good morning.
James, thank you for letting me share yesterday. And it was fun because Mia was with me in the car after I had my morning work session and I'd knocked off all my most important activities. Then her and I were getting out in the afternoon and running errands, and I had you playing. I had the video on because I haven't obviously seen it full on. And she said, "Wow, you're pretty good at that." And so it really gave me some validity. So thank you, James, for allowing my kid to see that I'm okay at what I do sometimes, and that I was actually modeling in the moment, spending afternoon time with her. So
I love it.
thank you.
You are good at it. And happy birthday to Mia too. I think her birthday was this
I
week.
know.
So,
18.
but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, you did a great job. And the guidebook you put together is great. We'll put the link in the chat again for that for anybody who missed it, and the link to the interview if you want to go watch it. It's like 18 minutes long. You don't have to sit and watch it. You can listen to it while you're out and about and get some ideas about how to create a business that's running at a high level, but also be able to enjoy the summer. And I think it especially applies to people like you and me who've got kids that have the summer off, and we want to enjoy that time with them and yet still run a great business. Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you.
Tanya, good morning.
Good morning. So, the day before yesterday, I received an email from somebody who was wanting to buy in our area. And I was in a class, so I forwarded it to my husband, Tom, and it was like, take care of this. Is probably some kind of YouTube lead or something. He called the person. He's like, I really think they're legit. So then I called and left a voicemail yesterday. And then when I was on the phone with someone else, get this number who calls me and does it twice, I guess, so he could get my husband's number, calls my husband up. And then when my husband goes, oh yeah, these are legit leads. He said, or a legit lead. He said, he wants to use you because you showed him a house one time, him and his wife do, and you told him that you smelled mold. And he said she's an honest person, and I've been with agents who was trying to sell me something on the course, and when they didn't think I was looking, picked up a golf ball out of the backyard. And he's like, no, we're definitely going with you. And when I went back to look at his phone number, and the last time I spoke with him was in 2016, and I have not been marketing to this person.
He remembered
Now
how
they're
you
ready to
treated
go.
him. He remembered how you treated him, and 9 years later followed up. And of course, it's a lesson too. Let's follow up with those people. And you're getting the business because you're a great person. That's the kind of person you are, a great person. Thank you. Donna Gilbert.
Hey, good morning. So I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. You said, how many of you have friends from this group that you didn't think you'd have, you were never met.
Yesterday, yeah.
It was yesterday. Yeah. So I want to shout out Joe Kenny. He sent me a lovely referral from a gentleman that he actually went to, I think he said grade school, but I know definitely high school, and they've been friends ever since. And they want to move to my area, which is wonderful. But then I got a text message, and we texted almost all day from Heidi Cole, who I have never met. And we have like parallel lives. It's so interesting. About like the 15th text, we realize we even know people in common. Like,
Oops, Donna, I muted you by mistake. Was trying to mute somebody else, but will you unmute? And
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
and Heidi realized you had some friends in common.
We have people in common, like people who are really close to her and really close to me, and we both know. And if we had never, and I can't wait to meet Heidi. So
That's so
that's
fun. Yeah, she's on this call, probably on right now. She's very active in what we do inside of here. So that's great. I love the referrals that happen inside this space. This is why Inspire members and Pivot folks speak up on the call, raise your hand, share. You know, you don't solicit in the chat like, hey, I can help you with your referral and such and such. That's annoying. Don't be annoying. Now, I got a text about somebody who was doing that this week. Y'all just don't do that. But just be a contributor to the community and show up to the Inspire calls and ask questions in that, and you'll be in good shape. Let's get after it this morning. It's been listing month on month, right? Week 1 was fill the pipeline full of leads. Week 2 was move it out of the pipeline and get an appointment. Week 3 was if you're going to get the appointment, you might as well take the listing. This week is market and manage the listing. We have done the launch process. We have done all sorts of things. Today I want to talk about, all right, we've been sitting on the market a minute, and it's time to have that price reduction conversation. And there's certain metrics you might measure. In Bold, we used to teach, 10 showings, no offers, or 2 weeks, no showings. We did a thing in Inspire a while back that gave us the metrics from Emily and Aaron, which was, you're looking for 3 to 5 showings a week, you're looking for second showings, you're looking for positive feedback, and you're looking for offers or talk of offers. And if you're not getting any of those things, you want to get a price reduction. And yet it's a tough conversation. It can be, because sometimes a seller, well, they just think their home is worth more than everybody else's. And here's why. I think this is oftentimes why an agent will take an overpriced listing, is they just get outscripted by the seller. They're just not confident enough in either their conversation or their data to be able to get it priced right from the beginning, and then struggle later to get the price reduction. So I want to talk about your process for price reductions. I'm not talking about pricing it from the beginning. Look, all of us have taken listings where we believe are priced right from the beginning, and we just found out later the market's rejecting it. So I want to hear, what is your price reduction process? When do you bring it up? What's the information you use? How do you walk a seller through it? What are some of the scripts and dialogues that you're using to be able to help people understand that their price is wrong? Dean Stardust, good morning.
Good morning, James. Thanks so much for the opportunity. I think the key is several things. Number one, keep the conversation ongoing. You don't want to drop a price reduction like a bomb. No bunker busters around here. So what you got to do is say, look, we're going to do our work. We think we're right on track, but it's always possible that we're a little bit high. And I'm going to let you know early on if that might be the case. So if, let's say, we have a little bit of a lull and I'm beginning to think we're a little too high, I might say, we might need to have a conversation on that pricing next week, as I suggested to you. They go, yeah, you told me you're going to do that. So that's fine. We're ready to do that. The other thing you want to do is always talk to clients on net, what their walk away money is. So they find when we do a net sheet for them up front, we give them a range of where it's going to be, low, medium, and high. They're going to see when it comes for the price reduction that you're in the medium end of the range. You're still where they need to be. So it's not so much of a scare. It's not so much of a drop. To throw them you're going 50,000 lower, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is a lot more jarring. And your bottom line is only going to be slightly lower. So focus on that. Have the conversation only, and make it collaborative is the last thing.
Well,
So
and that goes back to the call we
going
had earlier this week, which is you've got to have some sort of regular communication so that
Yes.
it doesn't get dropped on them, and you're reviewing what's happening data-wise and market-wise. The call we did, I think it was yesterday's call where we went through and said, here's the different points you want to bring up. Go back and watch that one again, and pricing is part of that every week. Ronnie, good morning.
Thanks.
Good morning, James. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So for me, it starts at the pre-qualifying phone call when I ask the 20 questions. And it leads into what Dean said. What I mean by that is the one question is, what do you want to list it for? I don't know. You tell me. Because I study the market, what's the price you can't go below? If I get any one of those two, when I do the net sheet, the second column is the bottom line. The bottom line, when you do a price reduction, if they're making a penny more than the bottom line, it's an easy way to do it. It's also built into the listing contract on the additional terms. Seller agrees to reduce by X if there are 0 offers or 0 showings after 14 days on the multiple listing service. And I tell them quite clearly, in 2 weeks, the market will speak to us. And when the market has spoken, we'll know if we hit that mark. Could you imagine if we haven't hit that mark, we now have to adjust this? And the other thing is, I remind them of the 5 Ps, where most agents do 3. Put a sign in the yard, pray somebody's going to bring it, put it on the MLS. I do the 4th and 5th, which is I proactively search for buyers each and every day. I invite you to come to my office from 8 to 12 every day to see me pro searching. And lastly, price watch. Every week, we're going to talk about what's going on in the market. That's it.
That's great. Love it. Thank you. Julie Hess, good morning.
Good morning. So I came in the business in 2010, and I remember as a new agent, I've been in sales all my life, but as a new agent, having really hard conversations right out of the gate. And those were tough years. I mean, 6 months, 8 months, they're on, the market and we're reducing, every week you don't know what else to say. So I'm not doing it again. I am not going backwards again on that. So we're going to have these conversations right at that listing appointment. There's nothing more miserable than week after week just checking in. So I think the first thing is, like Ronnie said, you set it up. And on the last page, we say within 7 days, we're going to know if we hit the mark or if we didn't. The market's going to tell us. So after 7 days, if we don't have this, this, and this is the price reduction. I think the other thing is to remind them that you're hiring me to partner with you. So let's partner together and draw out this roadmap so that we know in 1 week, if we don't have what we want, this is what we're going to adjust the price to. So I think, once again, you got to set that up from the very beginning and have a plan with them so that there's no surprises. And I had one yesterday. She was disappointed in my prices. And I said, I promise you, if we overprice it, we're going to reduce and we're going to have to chase the market. And yet, if we start at 575, the market's going to chase us. Let them drive it up. But if we overprice, I promise you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to have different conversations and they're not going to be good. So she agreed. So
haven't we all had, Julie, haven't we all had something where you hear about some product or something, you're like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. I absolutely want that. And then you find out that it costs like $3,000 and you're like, nope, don't want it that much. And I think people do want to buy their house. I think when a home is on the market, somebody wants to buy it. There are people who are interested. In fact, if people have come to see it, those are people who want to buy it or they wouldn't have come see it, but they don't buy it because they go, oh, not for that. I don't want to buy it for that. That's too much. And so I think we have to, the conversations we have with them are really important. Like you just said, another one could just be very simply so that it doesn't feel like it's a bad thing. It's just, you know what? We haven't gotten the response that we were expecting. So the market is giving its feedback through its silence, right? No offers. It's been silent. And this isn't what we expected, but it's what we're getting. So we're gonna have to reduce it. Julie, thank you. You've had great scripts this whole month. It's been awesome. Dawn Tinder, hello.
Hello. So like the others have said, pricing conversations at the listing appointment are key. I recently had, back in the fall, I listed a property in a saturated neighborhood, and I thought we priced it right. But in the fall compared to now, things have drastically changed. So they had moved out, and I went ahead and had the home staged. We had new pictures. We reduced the price. We did all 3, and we got it under contract. So sometimes you got to take drastic moves to get your home sold.
That could be this almost this complete and total relaunch.
Yes, that's
right. And because it is about price, but it's also about beauty. And so a complete and total relaunch. How did you, what was your conversation like with the seller to get them to do all of those things, Dawn?
They were on board. I paid for the staging because at that point, after 160 days on the market, I'm like, I've got to do something. I don't even care. So they were, of course, completely on board because they had already moved out. They needed to sell this house. So sometimes you got to go all in.
Thank you. George, good morning. Keeping it in Orlando.
Good morning, James. So I had this conversation yesterday, and what I did was I prepared a spreadsheet with everything that was active, everything that was sold, everything that was pending in a square footage range and pricing. Had the seller come into my office, went into the conference room, set up the computer, brought everything up in MLS. We looked at all the pictures, we looked at everything that was there, and he self-discovered that he was way, way overpriced. And so it was an easy conversation. He told me where he needed to be in order to get it sold.
Help them figure it out. Let them come to you and give you the number. George, thank you so much. Janet, stand by. I want to get Kathy in because we just don't hear from her very often. So Kathy, good morning.
Morning. So as others have said, it starts at the listing presentation so that you're talking about this so that there's no surprises later on, and setting up the expectation that within 7 to 10 days, you're going to have this conversation. I had a situation where that in fact happened. We'd gone through the pricing strategy. They decided they really wanted to go to the high, which I said, we can try it, but we're going to come back again in another week if we don't see the indicators happening that it's the right price. So 7 days later, I called them up and I said, it's time to have that pricing conversation. And I went to go see them. I brought comps. I brought, just as George was talking about, what was happening in the market. I also brought an updated net sheet that showed what they would net based at the different prices. And that way they could see. The other thing that I offered them as we were having the conversation was that I would take them to see the other homes that were at their current price range, but also where I thought they should go so that they could see for themselves.
Yes.
What people were getting, because I felt like people were using our house to then buy another house.
100%.
When we had the net sheet, one of the things I said to them is this price improvement is the most important thing. That first price that you take the reduction is the most profitable for you. So I want you to be bold. And so when we looked at it, I said, when you do nickel and diming, the $5,000 or $10,000, what's going to happen is people are going to want to say, what's wrong with it? Because you're going to probably have to take additional price changes. So I suggested a $25,000 to $30,000 price reduction, which is a lot for a seller, but then tied it back into motivation, because I think it's really important for them to understand what's their timeline and how are we going to get there so that we get the most exposure of the home. And then when I said, let me step away and wanted you to talk about it. And so they talked about it. They weren't ready. These were friends of mine. They were not ready that evening. The husband was, the wife wasn't. So I said, all right, let's follow up tomorrow. The next morning, I got a text. All right, let's go for it. And they took the $30,000 price reduction. So I think it's helping them through the process, understanding the personality. So I needed to give the wife that extra time to come to her beloved house that her children grew up in, that she wasn't going to get the money that she originally thought, but they made the right decision. And that next week, with showings and new open house, we got an offer and were able to meet their deadline. So
Print it. Write everything down she just told you. Everything she just told you is exactly right. So write it down and document it. First of all, the first price reduction is the best price reduction. Don't tiptoe down, right, Kathy? It's
correct.
Don't do, little 3,000, little 5,000, little 5 or 10%, Kathy. Somewhere between 5 and 10%. Make it significant. Really get in there and walk them through it. Whatever Kathy just told you, that's what you're going to do. We're out of time. I am so sorry, but we are not going to get to the other 8 of you that are here. But we have talked about pricing forever. And I'll probably post something in it and get yelled at about it, but you can go in and comment on it. Because folks, you've got to price it right, period. And if it's not priced right from the beginning, we are not perfect. We are gonna price it in a way that we think is correct and find out later we're wrong. That's gonna happen to every person on this call. And then you're gonna have to reduce it and follow the strategies, especially the one we just heard from Kathy. We're out of here. Peace out. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, James.
You got it.